today we are talking about boyfriends and girlfriends. And I know it's very random to do that at the end of February after Valentine's Day, but we just wanted to cover it because I feel like, I don't know, that we sometimes, not we, but like parents in general, sometimes, oh, can you hear me? Is my microphone on the ground? No, it's way down there. Sorry. Here, I'll put my microphone up here, and then you can actually hear me. I think sometimes we dodge the whole topic, and I think it's really important that we cover it. And I know it sounds very random to be doing this with under fives, because we're like, our children are under 5. What in the world could we possibly have to talk about boyfriends and girlfriends? But I just wanted to open it up. So as you join, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for reaching here. And if you have questions, if you have stuff that's bugging you, that's worrying you, I'd love for you to type in questions as we go along. And my colleagues will make sure that I see those questions and answer them, because I'm really, here to see what you wanted to talk about. I felt like it was important to talk about because it's something that often as parents we can feel uncomfortable about, or that we operate out of unconsciousness. And I think it's really important when it comes to this whole concept of boyfriend-girlfriend thing that we as parents feel comfortable to make decisions and to know our approaches. And having under 5s is a great time to sort of test it out and see what you think. And it's something that we see a lot actually with under 5s lives. You will see it in the playground, you'll see it when you take your kids to nursery, you'll see it in your family members. Sometimes your small child will particularly like playing with a different child, and inevitably somebody ends up saying, oh, it's like her little boyfriend, or oh, it's like his little girlfriend, and all of a sudden they're 3 years old and we're like, oh, do you have a boyfriend? And there's this sort of sense of teasing around a boyfriend-girlfriend, which puts drops of thoughts into our children's heads. And I thought we'd just talk about it because this life of under 5s is learning identity and how to interact with each other. And if we want our children to develop a healthy concept of the body of Christ and a healthy concept of relationships with others, then I would suggest that this pattern of teasing is unhelpful for our under 5s children. Because at that age, children's brains are in friend mode. And there's so much that we can do in this under 5s area to begin to build foundations for the future of talking about boyfriends and girlfriends. And so here's a couple of foundational things that I just wanted to think about. And as you are listening, please feel free to type in wisdom, type in questions, type in advice, type in situations that you've run across that make you worried or uncomfortable. Maybe we can all together figure it out. One of the things is about this narrative of inevitable relationship. And I think it's been really interesting in working with under 5s that often we seed into our children this concept that one day you will grow up and have a girlfriend or boyfriend and you'll get married and have babies. And that is the narrative of your life. And I think what we've seen over and over again, particularly in adults, is that this concept of singleness, this concept of a pattern of life that could be different than what the norm is, can feel so jarring to them. But actually, there are many adult Christians who are single. There are many adult Christians who are widowed. There are many adult Christians who are married. There are many adult Christians who don't find a partner until they're 60. And life is not as simple and tied up as that. And if we at under 5s, instead of saying one day you will, as soon as possible, get a girlfriend or boyfriend and then get married and then have babies. But if we can begin to seed in, rather than that being their main narrative of life, if we swap out that their main narrative of life is that you are a child of God and you are going to go on a grand adventure with God, and it's going to take you places you never thought, and you're going to do things that you may never even think of doing right now, and you're going to be powerful and purposeful, and you are going to be absolutely gobsmacked by what God and you are going to do. And along the way, you may find someone that you want to do that with and form a family, or you may not and want to just be on that adventure with God, and that's okay too. So whatever your life looks like and whoever you choose to do it with or not do it with, that's okay, because the one person you're going to do it with the whole time is God. And when we swap that out to be the narrative, then their life isn't all about whether or not they find a partner. That is not the most important thing they're going to hear from themselves and others, because what they're going to hear is that life on an adventure with God is your life narrative. It's the story that you're on. And along the way, you may pick up someone else and decide to make a family, or you may decide that you and God want to go along on your own. That is up to you and up to the circumstances that surround you. And so I think swapping that out is really, really important. It makes the relationship that we have with our church communities and our friendships and God so much more important. And so therefore that romantic relationship gets wrapped into the grander narrative of all of the support that we have around us, our friends, our family, our communities. And also you can choose that romantic relationship too. I think that's important to get into these under fives so that their life doesn't become very narrowly focused on that. Another thing that is really helpful to think about in this whole boyfriend-girlfriend thing is thinking about how you want to respond when other people choose to try to make that the narrative of your children's friendships. It's really confusing for kids when they are small and they're just trying to be friends with people, and all of a sudden their best friend is a girl or a boy, an opposite gender to them, and everyone starts putting labels on it. They can become to be self-conscious about who they find helpful for their hearts. And so when they start getting teased about this boyfriend, girlfriend, it's helpful to have in your head already. I find that sometimes I feel like I'm terrible live. And so someone says something and I'm like, and then I don't know what to say. And so if someone tries to introduce that girlfriend, boyfriend thing to your kid, how do you want to reply to that? Do you want to say, yes, Fiona has loads of friends, and Johnny has been a really great friend. They bring a lot of joy to each other and they take care of each other really well. So rather than feed into that, you might want to just define why that's a good friendship. However you choose to respond to it, you just might want to have that in the back of your heads because your kid is listening, and it's really important that you feel like you can wade into that. There's this age group is so significant also because they're trying to figure it out and they make crazy mistakes. I love talking to under fives about relationships because, I mean, I'm sure you can push like if your kid has ever announced that they're going to marry you. And I remember thinking, this is very strange. My son was convinced that he was going to marry me. And we know that that's them just figuring out what this amazing, weird relationship that is marriage is. And they're putting it all together in their heads and trying to pick it. And that is part of the joy of under fives, is they're going to want to marry their turtles, and they're going to want to have boyfriends that are their stuffed animals. And they're trying to figure out, they're in this chaos of trying to match it. And we get to wade in and say, oh, I love that what you're finding in that friendship is that one day, like when your kid wants to marry you, it's because they want you in their life forever. And you can say marrying someone is not the only way to keep someone in your life forever. We can choose to walk alongside each other. Marriage is this thing. A boyfriend, girlfriend is this thing. And friendships are this thing. And we get invited to explain those things to our kids when they are having crazy things. And so rather than just saying, no, you can't marry me. No, you can't, your stuffed animal can't be your boyfriend. To take that opportunity to figure out what about that relationship is special to them and affirm to them that, yes, that is something that you can find in boyfriend-girlfriend relationships when you're an adult. And that is something that marriage is for. And isn't that great? And so you can begin to pick apart these things. When your kid says, I want to marry you, or I want you to be my boyfriend, you can say, oh, thank you. That is a big honor to pick one person who is responsible for holding your heart like that. But I'm your daddy. And the way daddies take care of you is to do this. And to be able to take those opportunities to define those relationships is really, really useful. That surfing the waves, Parenting for Faith, we talk about surfing the waves, and surfing the waves of our children's interest about these things is really a massive strength. Don't feel you need to run around trying to define everything and saying, this is what I feel about boyfriend, girlfriends, this is what I feel about marriage, this is what it is. But there's something about surfing the waves of their interest that releases you to do something really helpful with their concept of boyfriend, girlfriend. I think the other thing that I just wanted to sort of highlight for you is that they will be looking at a lot of adult relationships and not quite understanding. And this is when we're going to be able to frame for them what boyfriend, girlfriend looks like for adults and why that's significant, why they don't have to worry about that now. So whatever your concept of that dating relationship is, to say, yes, when you're dating, you're saying, I think I might want to be family with you forever. Let's test it out and see if you can be trusted with my heart this way. Or let's try hanging out a lot of time and seeing if we can figure out how to care for each other, and if your goodness and your concept of God is the same as mine. And we sort of test that out. That's what boyfriend girls are. They're testing to see whether or not they want to be family forever. And however you want to describe it, you don't in any way have to use my words, but however you see it, being able to describe it, but also being able to describe the positiveness of that. Yes, your auntie is dating somebody, and she is saying, do you take care of my heart? Are you faithful to do what you say you're going to do? Do you love God in a way that makes me go, I want to love God more? All of those things, so that you are from the outside saying, look, what they're doing now is they're asking themselves questions. Whatever you want your under 5 to be able to do in the future, you're saying this is what you're looking at, so that as they get older, they have had, by the time they start dating, they will have had 15, 16, 17, 25, according to my father, 30 years of saying, this is what that stage looks like, and these are the good questions to ask, and this is what it is. And be prepared for that to come up. I have known families who have done this with their under 5s, and then aunt comes round, or uncle comes round with the person they're dating, and the kid will sit down and be like, are you taking care of my uncle's heart? Okay. Do you do what you say you're going to do? And they will grill them with all of the deep, important questions, because they learn that that's what's important in picking someone that you want to do life with. So whatever those things that are important for you, frame that that's what's happening in that stage. And you know what? You're not picking someone you want to do life with forever. So don't worry about it. You can be friends with everybody, because God has placed a little bit of himself in everybody. And those things pull our hearts towards them. So you can be friends with boys and be friends with girls, because everybody's people who God loves. And so as you sort of go on that snippet journey, don't worry about trying to shape everything. Just give them a narrative that says your whole life is more important than who you pick. And you'll have a great, great adventure with God. And you may choose someone and you may not. Don't worry about doing it now. When you see adults, this is what they're doing and this is what it looks like. And then tell your stories. Tell your love story. 4-year-olds love hearing your love story. 4-year-olds love hearing how you picked the person you wanted to be family with. Create those windows into your life of who God was and what he did and whispered. I love hearing under 5 stories. They'll come tell me the story of how Daddy God whispered this and Mommy said that, and all of those things together. So however you want to create those stories, feel free to do that. That's it. I just wanted to throw a little couple of thoughts in it. Do you have any stories, any questions, any things you really want to talk about in this whole realm of boyfriend and girlfriend and under 5s? Because I know for some of us it's huge and some of it's small, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of stuff to think about that. So what we'll do is we'll do what we normally do, is pray. And then if you have anything, if you have any stories, any funny stories, any questions you want me to answer, any things you want me to talk about, then you do. But for now, I just want to pray for you. God, I thank you for this day. I thank you that you are a God who designs and creates us for relationship. God, I pray that you would just pour your blessing upon these parents right now. I pray that you would raise them up to be able to answer these tough questions in a world that is pushing our kids into relationships and defining who they are and picking people to be interested in this romance of the child. I pray, God, that you would free these parents from the worries and stress, from uncomfortability and from hesitation, that you would give them boldness to speak truth into their kids' lives, to free their children from expectations from everybody else, and to slowly drip into their minds the true beauty of the relationships you've shaped us for, whether that be a single life with you, whether that may be with a partner for life, whatever the shape of the journey looks like, God, I pray that you would help these parents seed in their children all the wonders of a life with you and the community and friendships and possible partnerships they have in the future. I pray that you give them great sleep, God, In Jesus' name. Amen. So I'm not seeing any questions or ponderings. Next month, feel free to type them in, and if they pop up, we'll answer them. If next month we're talking about making space for doubt, and how our kids, if our kids are having doubt, what do we do? Do we squash it? Do we try to answer the questions? Is it important to make space for it or to not? And so that's going to be next month. Oh, a question has come in. Daughter comes home from school saying, my boyfriend calls me my princess and my love, but he isn't always kind to me. I never know if he's going to be my friend or be mean to me. I don't know if I want to be his friend. How do I help her navigate this? Great question. First of all, you may be surprised that your child has a boyfriend. It happens very fast. As someone who has worked with kids for a very long time, I have known people to get together, break up, get together, break up, get together with somebody else by the time they go home at the end of the day. And so it is a massive thing. And so that's okay. So surf the waves of it, because what they're voicing is an uncomfortability with relationship. And that's a really interesting thing, because I would begin to ask really good questions like, oh, very interesting. Your boyfriend is kind to you and mean to you. What do we expect for friends to do for us? And if you've never had that conversation, to take care of our heart, to be kind and good, to take care of us, to speak truth and goodness into our lives. Let's see, does your boyfriend, what's his name? John. Does John do that? Does he take care of your heart? Does he speak good words? Oh, then I'm not sure he can be trusted with your heart. Your heart is very precious. And he sees that. He sees the preciousness of your heart, because he says kind things to you too, but it seems that he's not in control of his own words, and he's not in control of his heart. And so he seems to be sort of a bit moving around with his words, and sometimes it's nice and sometimes it hurts. And so what I find is people who we can be trusted with, we can stand very close to and let our hearts stand close to it. But if he's moving around and sometimes hurting you, then it's probably not safe to stand next to him. So I would suggest that maybe you say, let's try being friends, because I feel safe with being friends, and only people who are very close to me and can take care of me well can be even closer to me. Does that sound good? Because then you can take it to it's safe. If I'm standing in the middle of the room and I'm punching everywhere, it's not safe to stand next to me. Even if I say, I want you to stand next to me, and I'm punching around, do you think it's a smart thing to do to stand next to me? No. So why don't you take a couple of steps back, and then we can have conversations about it, because it's really important that you take care of your heart and only trust people who will take care of yours close. And so you can begin to talk about that sort of safe thing. And it's always okay. It's really okay. And particularly with under fives, to start that thing of you don't have to be friends with everybody. You have to be kind to everybody, but you don't have to trust everybody with your heart. That's a really important distinction. Great conversation to have. Let's see, there's another one. There's a kid in my kids' class who loves to play kiss chase. Oh, the kiss chase. And I don't think this is appropriate, but I find it difficult to explain why to my child. Yes, welcome. Hands up for the kiss chase issue. I also remember playing Kiss Chase. Do you remember playing Kiss Chase? So Kiss Chase is a really interesting thing. One thing that you can describe to your kid about it, if you feel it's inappropriate, right, so it's not your kid who likes playing Kiss Chase, is that kisses are a really special thing. It's a very wonderful, precious thing of saying one person to another, I feel so much emotion of happiness and joy and love that I want to express that to you. And the other person can decide whether or not they get kissed. They can say, yes, I choose to accept what you have in your heart. Now, kiss chase just sounds like someone chasing after you so that they can do what they want to somebody else, and the person who's running away doesn't want it. That's not a kiss. That's like a attack with your mouth. And attacking with your mouth is not appropriate. A kiss is something very precious that we should protect and only do. So why don't you play Tig instead of playing Kiss Chase? Because Kiss Chase is sort of taking something precious and then just attacking someone with your mouth, rather than playing the fun of chasing someone and getting them, which you can play with Tig. Just play with your hands rather than your mouth. So if they say, hey, let's play Kiss Chase, say, nah, let's play Tig instead. Ooh, let's see, a comment from on Facebook. When I told my daughter she couldn't marry me when she was older, she happily said, "That's okay, I'll marry my brother." Yeah, problem solving. Yeah, sure, as long as you got somebody in your life, it's fine. It's this whole trying to figure out who you're marrying is wanting to go, I want a special person to spend life with. And I love that. I know kids who are going to marry their dogs. I've had kids announce that they've had their own marriage ceremony with their pets. It's very interesting. And that sort of joy of just explaining it. What about, I'm a single parent and I'm thinking of dating. How can I help my daughter understand this? Very interesting question. Yes, because it's not just about when our kids get in relationships, but it's also about how do we as parents explain that to our kids. And I think this concept of creating windows, and particularly about where God is in all of that, is a really useful tool to say, whatever your circumstance of how you and your partner became to not be together, whether it's being widowed, whether it's through separation and divorce, who God was in all of that and how you feel about it is really important to say, when I stopped having a life partner, or if you never had one and you're a single parent, this is a big new step for all of you. And so how you got to that decision is a really important part of helping your under 5 understand that. To say, my heart, in my journey, I love spending time with you and I love how our family is and it's really exciting, but there's something in my heart that says I want to begin to make friends with other adults. Now, if you feel like you've found someone that you want to start dating, then you'll feel free, but you can say, I want to start letting my heart open up to other people and see if maybe I can form a friendship. And if that friendship goes somewhere, that's great. And if not, then that's okay. But I feel like I need some more friendships. And if you want to explain dating, and you can say that this person is becoming important in my life and I'm letting them have a little bit more access to support and trust and encourage. And I don't know where it will go, but I'm going to be very careful about protecting my heart and finding out about that other person. And so you can sort of explain it in stages and say, I'm asking God and I'm talking to God about how I feel and how do you feel. And so rather than saying, I'm thinking about dating and I'm probably going to get married, they probably can't handle that. But that concept of saying, I'm going to open my heart a little bit and test what is in the heart of other people and form a friendship and see what that friendship does. Is useful, because often dating isn't about I'm going to find a marriage partner, but it's about saying I think I'm open to having other people in my life, and that doesn't change. And so often kids want to know how they engage with that, and basically you're saying it's me and you, and we are a family unit, and God is a part of that, and we can tell God everything, and you may find that. So when you feel that, it's up to you how you explain that to them, but in the same way that you would explain what other people are, figure out in your head how you want to explain it so that your kid can see it, and then you can let them know what that is. So create windows and explain where God is in the mix, about how, when you get scared about it or you're worried, or about how you feel very confident, to just go and get to know more people and more people to laugh with. However you see it, feel free to share a little bit. Not to dump your emotions on your kid, but to let them know, so that if that date doesn't work out and you feel like you want to tell your kid that that's what's happening, then you can say, nope, I decided that person always did talk about themselves and didn't ask questions about me. And I think it's really important when I'm looking for someone to invite into my life that we are our team together. I'm looking for someone who would be a good team with us. I'm not sure someone who only talks about themselves is. You know how it is, and you can begin to shape that. So actually, your journey of dating is a great window into them seeing what's of value. So I am going to go now because we're out of time. But if you have any other questions, feel free to write it in, and I'll try to type answers to you. Feel free to tell more funny stories, because it makes me happy to know that we're not all alone. And bless you, and I'll see you next month for Making Space for Doubt. And if you're free, go on a blacksmith course, because, wow, that was fun. See you later.